Yo, what is going on, y'all? Welcome back again to a brand new video. My name is Angelo from Cosmos Ink, and in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you all what do you need to get started with sublimation. So before we jump into this video, of course, there are three things I need y'all to do from me, all right? Number one, hit that subscribe button down below. That way you all will be notified whenever I post new content. Number two, we are the owners of Cosmos Ink. So if you need any type of sublimation ink supplies for your business, just hit that link down below. We'll get it sent out to you ASAP. And last but not least, please be sure to join our Facebook group, all right? Once you join our Facebook group, you pretty much have access to giveaways. We do live tutorials. You can showcase your artwork. You can ask questions. It is a community of people who do sublimation for a living. So if you want to be a part of that community, just hit that link down below to join our Facebook group. So now that we got all that out of the way, let's dive into the video. So there are three categories that you will need for sublimation, all right? The first category is going to be your printer, ink, paper combo, pretty much everything that encompasses the printer and everything that needs to go with the printer to turn it into sublimation. Secondly, we're going to go over the heat presses that you may or may not need. However, you do need at least one of them to get started with sublimation. And last but not least, we go over the accessories. Everything that I'm doing in this video, I will provide links down below. All right, that's for every individual thing. All right, it will have a link. So now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and start on our first category, which is what you see behind me, the printers. So in sublimation, actually not just in sublimation, in everything that people do, people want to have a budget-friendly option. So what I have lined up behind me, what you see is going to be Epson printers. Epson printers are going to be more budget-friendly than Sawgrass. However, Sawgrass is made for sublimation. So if you want something sublimation ready and you're willing to spend that extra money, you can go with Sawgrass. However, if you want something that is more budget-friendly for you, I recommend going the Epson route. All right. So behind me, we have two types of printers. They're both Epson. However, the type of them are different. For instance, these two are what's called EcoTanks, and this one over here is a cartridge style printer. I'm not gonna go over all the specifics because honestly, that is a whole nother video. There is a lot that goes into choosing the right printer. If you want a straightforward answer, my recommendation is to go with the EcoTank printer versus a cartridge printer. The EcoTank printers are gonna cost more than a cartridge printer. However, like I said, I'm gonna make a video doing that whole breakdown as to why I made that decision. So we have our EcoTank 2760 right here. We have the EcoTank 16500, and we have the Epson Workforce 7720. With the 2760, you have the 2760, then the next one up is the 3760, then the one after that is the 4760. Same as the 2720, the 3720, and the 4720. Personally, I recommend getting just the 2760 or the 2720 because those other sister models, they have more capabilities, but not anything that you would need dealing with sublimation. So the 2760, the max print size it can do is 8.5 by 14, but honestly, I recommend just 8.5 by 11 for that printer. After that, you have the 16500, which is nothing but a EcoTank version of the 7720. That's all it is. It's just if you take the 7720, take the cartridges away, put a tank on the side, you have a 16500. All right. So that's what this is. The max print that this one can do is a 13 by 19. I recommend getting 13 by 19 paper or getting the max size paper for the printer that you have. It can take 11 by 17 on this printer as well as this one. All right. Like I said, these are both pretty much the same thing. It's just one is an EcoTank, one is cartridges. So this one can take the 13 by 19 as well and the one underneath that, which is the 11 by 17, and anything smaller than that, which falls into the 8.5, 11 category, and or maybe a little bit smaller. All right. So those are the printers. After that, of course, you are going to need Sublimation Ink. Like I said, we are the owners of Cosmos Sublimation Ink. So if you need the most talked about, the most hype, the most vibrant, the best sublimation ink on the market, there's a reason we are number one. Just hit the link down below. We'll get this sent out to you. But for EcoTanks, I recommend you get our EcoTank Epson compatible sublimation ink for that. And it comes with the tips and everything that you need already on the top. If we are sold out, all you have to do is get, I'm gonna open this for you guys real quick. We sell these bottles. We sell these bottles individually. So if we are sold out of the EcoTank bottles, it's the same sublimation ink inside of them. All you have to do is just take your original bottles, like the ones I got right here. Take your original EcoTank bottles that came with your printer. You can screw this top off. You can screw this top off. Take off this blue ring that's around it. Same with your other ones. Take the top off and the ring that's around the top. Just take that off and then unscrew this off of this bottle and screw it onto these bottles, and you can put it in your printer. All right, but that's if we are sold out. Like I said, we are the, put this back. Like I said, we're the #1 sublimation ink supplier in the world, so we tend to sell out extremely fast. All right, so definitely go ahead and get that. So you need your sublimation ink for these printers. For this printer, you will need what's called a sublimation ink conversion kit, which is compatible with the 7720, the 7710, the 7210, the 7110, the 7610, and the 7620. And there's a couple other ones that you can see on the back that are compatible as well. All right. So now that we got our printers, we have our ink, the last thing we need is our sublimation paper, which I highly recommend you all get, is Crafting Besties. All right. I highly recommend this paper if you want a paper that will give you the best results, especially with Cosmos ink linked with our color profile. I highly recommend you get Crafting Besties paper. All right. They come in multiple sizes. We have 8.5 by 11, and I recommend this if you're getting a smaller printer that have a max print size of 8.5 by 11 or 8.5, 14. And then we have the next size up, which is 11 by 17. And then we have after that, the 13 by 19. So I highly recommend you guys go over there and get their paper as well. Once again, they are aiming to be the #1 sublimation paper supplier in the world. And that is why, of course, they sell out too. All right. It's okay. All right. We always have stuff back in stock almost immediately. So if you see it, definitely go ahead and get it. You will not be disappointed at all with the results. All right. So we got our printers, we have our ink, we have our sublimation paper. All that will be linked down below. Next up is category 2, which is down there, and that's our heat presses. So I will move us down there, and we're going to continue with the video. All right, so we are on to category number 2, which are the heat presses. All right, so as you can see behind me, we have 3 different heat presses. Each heat press is made for something different. So if you're doing a flat substrate, I recommend you get this one right here, which is the Heat Press Signature Series 16 by 20 from Heat Press Nation. All you do is grab this up here. You can pull it down from the top. You can adjust the pressure from the knob. It's a slide out tray, so you ain't got to burn up your knuckles. It is a excellent heat press. So I highly recommend the 16 by 20 at a bare minimum, because remember, the largest printer that we're working with is going to be a 13 by 19. So you want at least 1 inch extra on each sides just to compensate for heat loss and or anything of that nature. So I recommend the bare minimum when it comes to doing t-shirts, when it comes to doing photo glass, when it comes to doing almost anything that requires a flat surface, especially socks. I highly recommend you get a 16 by 20 bare minimum. All right, next up after that is our mug press right here. Once again, this is from Heat Press Nation. I highly recommend them. They have good, solid products with a solid warranty as well. So this is meant for coffee mugs. And as you can see, these are called attachments. With each different attachment, you can heat press a different size coffee mug and or a different style, a different shape of coffee mug as well. So it can do coffee mugs. I know they got one for shot glasses. It can do multiple different sizes. I highly recommend this if you're going to be doing sublimation on coffee mugs. And last but not least, the red one down here is from Heat Press Nation as well. And this is a hat press. Yes, you can sublimate on hats. However, I recommend you don't necessarily sublimate on the hat. I have my own method for that, which is sublimating on the patch first, which is what I would use this one for to do it because it is a flat surface. And then I take that patch and adhere it to the front of a cap using this press right here. All right, so just take your pick. If you just want to go ahead and get started and you want to do one that has the most versatility based on what you're doing, this is going to be more versatile and can press more items than these other two, because these other two are more item based. If you have a company that specializes in coffee mugs, I highly recommend you get this. You can get a few of these. They have even bigger ones. I highly recommend you get a mug press for that. And or if you have a hat company that's based off of doing hats, you can use that one down there. So that wraps up category number 2. We are about to head back down this way to go to the middle, and I will show you all the accessories that you will need to get started up with sublimation. All right, so let's go ahead and head down there. Hey y'all, so we are at our final part number 3, which is dealing with the accessories of what we need to get into sublimation. So as you can see behind us, we don't have a whole lot of items, but they are the right items that we need in order to get into it and get the job done. So let's go over our first item, which is going to be our Teflon pillows. All right, I'm about to say Teflon sheets. All right, Teflon pillows. So these are, in my opinion, these are required. All right, the reason why we need Teflon pillows is because you don't want to get that box around your shirt, and that comes from the heat platen. All right, it's the uneven pressure between the platen, the edges of the platen, what you're pressing, and the bottom of the platen. It's pretty much squishing it in. So since you don't have anything to hold up your shirt, that's why you're gonna get those heat press lines on the outside of your shirt. So with the Teflon pillow, all we do is just stick that pillow inside the middle of your shirt. It raises up your shirt, so now it's not gonna be as harsh around the edges of your shirt when you're heat pressing it, all right? So this one that I have is a 16 by 20. I recommend getting the same size pillow as your press, or you can get one, you know, that's a little smaller than your press. That'll be okay as well. Speaking about a little smaller than your press, this is a smaller Teflon pillow. This one I recommend as well, because this can do things like you can put it in the sleeve and put a logo right here on the arm. You can put it back here in the collar and heat press the logo back there. So I always recommend you have this little one, because this can come in handy a whole lot as well. All right. Next up after that, we have what's called heat tape. I highly recommend heat tape as well. This is another required item. Why do you need heat tape? Well, if you don't use heat tape and you just put your sublimation paper on your shirt and then you go to press it, as you're pulling down your heat press, that paper may shift. And if that paper shift while it's being pressed, you'll get what's called ghosting, which is gonna be a blurry image, or like a ghost effect, or like a double effect or triple effect of your image. So to prevent that from happening, we use the heat tape to tape it down to our substrate, and that way when we press it, we know it's not going to move at all, which will of course prevent ghosting. All right, so when ordering the heat tape, please know that when you order the heat tape, it's only going to come with the tape. It's not going to come on this whatever you call it, this holder. All right, this holder does not come with the tape. That is sold separately. However, I highly recommend that you get the holder as well, because it just makes life easier. Like, I don't want to be cutting tape with the scissors and then have to go back and find exactly where it was at along here, and I'm not doing all that. So I highly recommend that you get the holder for your tape as well. Also, we have right here a handy pair of scissors. All right, I recommend you always have scissors because you never really know when you're gonna need them. So I just, have them. Of course, I'm not gonna recommend where you get that from, because of course or you should know where to get scissors from by now, which is Walmart, Kroger, the dollar store, just wherever. All right, so scissors on hand. After that, we have a lint roller. This is another highly required item. The reason I recommend that you get this, or the reason I require it, is because when you're dealing with a fabric and you're heat pressing it, just any fabric period, is gonna have lint on it. So if you're pressing polyester and you have lint on that shirt, when you go to heat press it and you pull up that heat press, you're gonna see these small squiggly blue lines. And once those blue lines are on your shirt, it will not come off. So to prevent that from happening, you want to lint roll all your fabric substrates prior to pressing to get off all the lint as much as possible. All right, so I highly recommend that you get a lint roller. All right, after that, we have back here, which is our butcher paper. That is extremely important as well. If you get butcher paper, please make sure it is unwaxed butcher paper. Unwaxed. If it is waxed, it will cause a complete mess and it will destroy your heat press. It can destroy your substrate. So definitely get unwaxed butcher paper. Inquire about it that is unwaxed before you order it. But once again, I will have everything that I've done in this video. I will have links down below for it. All right. So I recommend you get butcher paper as well. And you also get the butcher paper holder, because you can just pull the paper out, pull it down, and it'll trim the butcher paper. It's actually called a butcher paper trimmer. All right. Or you can say butcher paper holder. But yes, definitely make sure you get that. And the reason why we have butcher paper is because we use that as a barrier. We use that as a protection item. And what I mean by that is when you print on sublimation paper and you go to heat press it to a shirt, the ink may sometimes go through the shirt. And if it goes through the shirt, you don't want to get it on top of your Teflon pillow. You don't want to get that onto the back of your shirt. You don't want to get anywhere. You want to go somewhere where it will catch all the excess that's coming through. So with that, we use the butcher paper to put inside of the shirt on top of the Teflon pillow, but underneath the shirt, and then it'll catch any type of sublimation ink that may go through the shirt to avoid it getting on your pillow or the back of your shirt. Same thing with the top of it. Sometimes the ink may go through the top of your sublimation paper as well, or go through the back of your sublimation paper and get on the top of your platen. So to prevent that from happening, we put another sheet of butcher paper on top of the whole thing before we pull down the platen. So that way that gives you that type of double protection that you will need from the inside and the outside to ensure that that sublimation ink won't damage anything. All right. So we got that stuff, everything over here on this side. On this side, we have our extremely big paper trimmer. So I highly recommend this trimmer. It is not a requirement, but I highly recommend it, because if we're dealing with paper that's 13 by 19 inches long, and let's say you have about 100 sheets, or you have about 30 sheets, you don't want to cut each and every sheet with these scissors, especially if you're trying to conserve money by trying to gang up multiple designs on one sheet. So in order to save time, you can just get this big boy right here, this paper trimmer. It can fit 13 by 19 on it. If you have two designs on one 13 by 19 inch paper, and there's like an opening in the middle that you made where you can just easily cut through the middle, just do that, put it in the trimmer, slide it to the edge, pull this up, pull it down, and you can have that done in no time. All right, so I highly recommend this paper trimmer as well. I'll have a link for that listed down below too. All right, so initially I said there were 3 categories. It's actually 4 categories, which is the design program. So I get a lot of questions about what do I recommend is the best design program for sublimation. It's not the fact of if it's for sublimation, it's just a design program, period. In my eyes, I recommend Affinity Photo or Affinity Designer or Illustrator or Photoshop. The reason why I recommend those is because those are what's called color management programs. All right, you can be able to have the program handle all your coloring, and it gives you the option to be able to handle your coloring. So if you download our color profile and you need to put it somewhere where you can be able to access that color profile, you can do that through those design programs that have color management capabilities. All right. Silhouette, no. All right, Silhouette does not have color management capabilities. However, there are some times where we may have to get on Silhouette to do a sublimation project because it may have glitter, which needs to be cut with a vinyl cutter, which is what Silhouette is. It's a program for their vinyl cutter, the Cameo series. So yes, you're gonna need Silhouette for cutting vinyl, like glitter vinyl if you want to sublimate on top of it, or for cutting out cotton subs if you want to sublimate on top of that, or for easy sub if you want to sublimate on top of that. You definitely have to have that type of program. However, just know that that's not a color management program. All right, so like I said, Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, I like those the most because those are a pay one-time program. After that, you have Photoshop and Illustrator, which are subscription based. If you're already familiar with those programs, then I recommend you use those programs as well. Just know you have to pay that subscription fee every single month. And then after that, honestly, I don't recommend anything else. Not saying I don't recommend anything else, but hey, I like what I like. All right. So that is pretty much it. That wraps up the entire video. I appreciate you all for watching this video. Please, before you leave, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. That way you all will be notified whenever I post new videos. Number 2, be sure to join our Facebook group. Once you get into the group, we do things like giveaways. I do live tutorials. You can showcase your artwork, ask questions. It is a community of people who do sublimation for a living. So if you want to get access to the community, just hit that link down below. I'll go ahead and let you in. And last but not least, we are the owners of Cosmos Ink. So if you need any type of sublimation ink for your business and you want to show us support, just hit the link down below, order what you need, and we'll get it sent out to you ASAP. So that wraps up everything. I will see you all in the very next video. Angelo out.